Yes, my friends, the moment we've been waiting for has finally happened and finally been revealed. We have officially announced Enzo Fernandez as our new number 5. In today's video, I'm going to break down the agreement which helps us secure Enzo Fernandez. I'm going to discuss the story behind how we signed Enzo. I'm going to discuss Ziyech. I'm going to discuss Champions League squad registrations, plus a lot more, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But before I continue on, I need to give you guys this quick disclaimer. Tomorrow, I actually fly off on holiday. So I'm going on holiday for the next 10 days. I'm still going to try and release videos and produce content, but don't expect that to be the same editing standard because I need to try and balance my time out because, I booked this holiday months in advance and I never dreamed that January would be this crazy as we saw last month. So I hope you guys still enjoying. Make sure you guys stay tuned on BlueLionsTV. Anyway, help me get 2k likes and getting straight into things. Right now, let's start things off and let's discuss a recent story that's now developed. And of course, with our upcoming game later this month against Borussia Dortmund in the round of 16 in the Champions League, we need to register our squad. But with an influx of so many new players added to the team alongside existing registrations already, currently we only have around 3 places open for new signings to fill. So out of Madueke, out of guys like Badiashile, Felix, Mudryk, Enzo, etc, we can only pick 3 of them right now. And in my opinion, the 3 I'm most definitely picking are easily João Felix, Mudryk, as well as Enzo Fernandez. These guys boost any chances we have if we continue to progress in the Champions League. And for the other ones, Badiashile would be unlucky, but listen, he's going to be here in the long term, yeah. We have Fofana coming back as well too. Koulibaly could be relied upon if we needed him, if we did, but we have solutions and positions already, so we could sacrifice not using a Badiashile, not using Madueke, who might get more Premier League minutes now that he's not playing in the Champions League. For me, it's very simple. You want your very best players available in the squads, and Felix, Mudryk and Enzo take this team further in the Champions League. Now, there was some bad reporting that came from Sky Sports suggesting that with many of the guys we've signed, being 21 at the time we signed them and under 21, that they could register as B-list options for the Champions League squad. But the key information they missed out on is that you need to have at least trained at this club for a handful of years first. But the key piece of information that they forgot is that you need to have had a handful of years at this club already to fall within those B-list restrictions. So, you're not going to see a lot of these young guys making appearances, but it's not really about that. But when you're seeing the quality we have right now, I'm really hoping that somehow we get Champions League football by either getting a top 4 finish or even winning the Champions League. And if it boils down to having to win it, we have a better chance if we have Enzo, Mudryk and Felix. So right now, let's move on to the next story. Now, I've been waiting for this announcement all day. Now, at the start of this morning, the club announced the fact that they had agreed to sign Enzo Fernandez, but there was no official confirmation or announcement. We didn't know what his shirt number was going to be, details behind the move, etc. But come the end of the day, we have all the information we need, and we know that Enzo will now replace Jorginho as our new number 5. I'm curious as to whether that means that he takes over penalty duties as well too, or is this now an opportunity for many guys in the team now to try and be the number 1 penalty taker in the squad? Let's see who can win that fight and who can lead. Right now, the football club have linked Enzo Fernandez's Instagram page on the club's official Twitter bio, and I feel that's a new strategy right now. Of course, social media pages for players is like another business and income for them, so this is the best way to attract and gain as many new followers as possible, and then maybe potentially get some brand deals to come from that as well too. So right now, let's turn our attentions to the club's official website as they announce the signing of Enzo Fernandez. It starts off by discussing how he starts in Qatar for Argentina. And as we scroll down, here's what Enzo Fernandez says after signing for us. As he says, "I am grateful to Chelsea and its ownership for doing everything they could to make me a part of this project. I'm happy and excited to join the Pride of London, to play in the best league in the world and to compete for the biggest trophies. I can't wait to play in front of our fans and help my teammates on and off the pitch." Now, I like the website because it would give you guys a really good brief understanding of what to expect from players, how they're used. The club provide very good insight behind the guys they sign, so I would recommend reading this for yourself. It documents his time at River Plate when he was 22 years old and the impact he had for them as well too. And of course, to end things, we need to hear from the words of Mr. Todd Bowley and Badad Iqbali. As they say, in Enzo, we are signing a World Cup winner and one of the brightest talents in global football. We are excited to add him to Graham's squad, and we are sure he will form an important part of our team going forward. Enzo has demonstrated his ability at the very highest level, so we're looking forward to seeing what he will do in Chelsea Blue. Welcome to Stamford Bridge, Enzo Fernandez. Anyway, Enzo Fernandez is officially our player. Let's now move on to discussing the financial aspects behind this deal. The finances behind how we sign Enzo Fernandez. To start off, Enzo signed an 8.5-year contract. His contract takes him to 2031, and for me, it's very reassuring to know the fact that he'll be here for the good part of 10 years. This is someone you can build teams around over that period, and the importance we can get from Enzo Fernandez, and knowing the fact that we are currently safeguarding ourselves too from any possible moves from a Barcelona or a Real Madrid in the future. If Enzo has years on his contract, that's going to put them off making a move, because otherwise they're getting priced out. So I'm loving the fact that he is going to be here for the foreseeable future. And of course, Enzo signs this 8.5-year deal, and his contract is worth around 115k per week based on current reports. Still though, Enzo and us aren't the only ones to profit in this window. Benfica own around 70 to 75% of the overall value of Enzo Fernandez, so they've earned a lot of money post capital gains, and capital gains is when your tax on the profit of an asset that has increased in value, and we know that Enzo's value has increased tenfold since they signed him during the start of the summer. On top of that too, Benfica's stock value rose by 2.5% based on the sale of Enzo, and River Plate are also winners because they earned around £27 million from the sale of Enzo Fernandez, and it has been reported that they are looking to reinvest the money earned into redeveloping their stadiums. So that's great news for River Plate fans and for all parties in general. Now let's discuss the transfer value behind this move, and for the final agreement, we're paying 40 million upfront, and for the rest of the difference, of course, the difference adding up to around 121 million, that will be paid off in 5 more installments. So it does seem like Benfica decided that they want as much money from this deal paid to them as soon as possible. For example, with the previous offer, that was around 60 million upfront, and the difference paid off in 5 more installments. But those installments get spread out over longer distances, and each size of that installment is less, and each installment is very small. So by accepting a lower base fee, it means that they can receive more money in installments, completing the deal in record time. So in that sense, the player cost for Enzo Fernandez will be around like 11.5 to 12 million, and Jorginho's sale basically pays for 1 year of Enzo Fernandez. So it's a deal that has a lot of synergy and makes sense in all angles. So right now, let's discuss the story behind the crazy events and negotiations that ultimately led to us winning the race to sign Enzo Fernandez on deadline day. Now, we know at the start that we sent officials on the transfer team involving guys like Paul Winstonley, Christopher Vavell, plus many of these guys to kickstart the first initial talks before the heavy hitters came in like Todd Bowley, Igbali, and other board members as well. We have to thank Jorge Mendes for kickstarting these renewed negotiations because he was that liaison. He eased the tensions, of course, create more conversation for us to ultimately sign Enzo Fernandez. Now, Benfica, for them, they wanted to keep Enzo, and they were sticking to their same plan of, if you want him, pay the full release clause. But this time, they were presented with a very different offer, an offer that they weren't presented with before. Because previously, we were offering players plus money, and that was getting quickly rejected by Benfica. But in the end, we agreed to pay the full amount of money, pay a little bit extra above Enzo Fernandez's release clause, as long as we can pay for the full transfer in installments. That was the ultimate deal. At the time, we were getting tons of conflicting reports about whether Benfica would decide to accept this or just outright reject things. But there was pressure coming from Enzo Fernandez, who respectfully wanted to leave, he wanted to sign for us, and he wanted to make this move happen right now. And also from people at the Benfica board, because this was a crazy amount of money to receive. 120 million. This is an offer that can't be rejected and ignored that easily, and it forced Rui Costa to have to appease his board members alongside him. Rui Costa told Benfica fans prior that Enzo isn't leaving whatsoever, and he got their manager to say the same thing. But in the end, it seemed like Benfica's plan backfired against them. Now for Benfica, they were more than happy with taking negotiations right to the wire to extract as much money as possible, but they weren't prepared for just how intense and just how much our board wanted to sign Enzo Fernandez. We threw out the entirety of the Chelsea Avengers team to get this deal over the line. Guys like Azpi were not taking no for anything. Never Benfica were saying no, they didn't like this, or we need to find a new solution for this negotiation. Our board was willing and happy to find solutions to get this move over the line, and with like a continued onslaught of pressure from Enzo behind the scenes, who made things very clear. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to leave right now. You even had Rui Costa in the end, trying to really beg the player to remain and offering him terms like, okay, listen, we'll accept the deal, but stay with us until the end of the season. And Enzo still rejected that. In the end, ultimately, there's no point in keeping an unhappy player. I mean, like many of your board members around you want to accept the terms because the offer is too good to turn down. What else was Rui Costa left to do? With the force we saw behind Azpi with his will to get Fernandez signed at any cost, it was making it very hard for Benfica to, of course, turn down and reject offers, because ultimately, it's not easy to turn down one of the world record offers you're receiving in football right now. So in the end, about 1 hour and 45 minutes before the window closed, we reached an agreement to sign Enzo Fernandez. At the time, he had already got permission, of course, to have his medical in Portugal to save some time. And once the first part of that medical was completed, he was on board a jet earlier today, coming to London to finish the second part of his medical. I think that is now done at the time of this recording. The club have announced that we've signed Enzo Fernandez, and they've already shown some snippets now on the social media pages. So right now we are just waiting for the full, proper, massive announcement. I hope the club currently are doing something big right now, and hopefully we'll see him make his debut versus Fulham as well too. So right now let's move on to the second story, and this story is a surprise one because we signed another player on deadline day, and this player is Jimmy Morgan. He's a 17-year-old forward playing for Southampton, and he plays for the under-21 team. So I love when young guys who are around 15, 16 are able to start playing for the under-21 teams. It tells you that they're way above the age group, and you know, this Morgan guy has a lot of reputation in this country. Some of his coaches at Southampton think that he has some of the best finishing for his age group that they've ever seen. And after we allowed Soonsup Bell to sign for Tottenham's under-21 team, I guess there was a reason behind why, because we had secured his replacement. So in the end, the deal to sign Morgan is going to be around 6 million plus add-ons. And that's kind of mad when you actually realize that that is like double the amount that Livramento costs when Southampton bought him from us. Now the player has already completed his medical, and he'll see his announcement made tomorrow as well too. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's going to play and what he's going to do. Now to give you guys some more interesting facts, Jimmy Morgan was already at the... Jimmy Morgan was already at Cobham when he was like 7 or 8 years old. So in a sense, he is coming back home. Now, ultimately, the reason why he left Southampton was because I guess he felt the pathway to the first team wasn't opened up. I'm thinking to myself, if you're coming here right now, it's going to be very hard to get like first team minutes as a striker unless you're out of this world. But I'm always going to give someone the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what this kid does. He clearly has some confidence behind him. But at the same time, you know, we have to also invest in our under-21 teams and our under-18 teams as well too. We have a reputation to maintain with Cobham. Right now, Cobham is more like a finishing school, and a lot of top guys want to sign for us because they're going to get an amazing education. I've always said it's like going to like Oxford or Cambridge. Once you have your degrees from these places, you can do anything you want to do in the world. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what he brings to our youth teams, and who knows, could he be a surprise package that one day finds himself in the first team. So right now, let's move on to the next story.